Alright guys, so last week I did my top 5 true wireless earbuds under $50 video. And so I had several people ask about doing a top 5 under $100, which I'm going to do here. But I'm going to be honest, this list specifically has been the hardest to make. And I think this is because the under $100 range seems to be the sweet spot when it comes to true wireless earbuds. I think there's so much value when it comes to the features and the audio quality that these kind of make it harder to recommend $200 to $300 earbuds simply because what you can get in this price range. Now, this is not a full-on review of each earbud. If you are interested in checking that out, all you have to do is go in the description. I'll have links to the original reviews. I do give pricing when I do my top 5, but of course that just changes at all times, so do keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and jump into number 5. So number 5 on the list is the Earphone Air Pro. Now this pair normally retails for about 99 bucks, but right now it's priced at 83. Now Earphone decided to work with Edifier on this pair, so a lot of you did point out that these do resemble the Edifier NB2s. Design-wise, they do look exactly the same, but as far as some of the features that these have, they do have active noise canceling and a transparency mode. Now even though I think it's great that it has these options, the noise canceling is not the best that I've heard on this pair. It is doing a decent job with lower tones and things like that, but just don't expect this pair to block out all of your surroundings. Now, as far as the transparency mode, if you're looking for a pair to use where you can hear your surroundings, or if you just want to carry on a conversation without actually taking your earbuds out, this pair does a really good job with that. Now, as far as using these outdoors, they do come in rated at IPX5, so they are fine against splashes and things like that, but this is not one of those pairs that you can submerge into water. Now moving over to checking out the battery life on these, I think they did a really good job here because on the earbuds themselves, you're going to get around 9 hours, where with the charging case, you're going to get around 32 hours total. Now, when you're using the earbuds themselves, as far as the controls on them go, they do use accelerometer sensors, which basically means as far as the tap controls, it's a little bit different because it doesn't pick up if you lightly tap it. It's more relying on the movement of the earbud. So you do have to kind of tap it a little bit harder. And then as far as the controls go, I wasn't a big fan here. And I think this is more so why I keep these kind of towards the back of this list, because they don't give you volume control and they also don't give you the ability to go back to the previous track. Now, I'm just more a fan of having all of the controls on the earbuds themselves. If they were able to fix this or add it in an update, these could easily move up on this list. But one thing that this pair does have that I really like is they do have the smart sensors where when you take the earbuds out, they will automatically pause and then they auto resume when you put them back in. Now, as far as the sound quality on these, this is a very bass-heavy earbud. It still allows the details to come through clearly, but if you're looking for a pair that has plenty of punch in the low end and kind of sounds really boomy at times, this definitely checks the box there. I feel like the mids come through very clear. I think treble is the only area maybe I would bump it up just a little bit. I don't feel like any details get lost, but I think because it has such a boomy sound, I would have liked the treble to be a little bit brighter. But I think the sound quality is still really good on this pair. Mixing that with the fact that you are getting active noise canceling, transparency, and smart sensors, you're getting really good battery life, and being able to pick that up for $83 is what puts these in at number 5. Now, number 4 on the list is probably the pair that completely came out of nowhere and surprised me this year, and that pair is the Tribet FlyBud C1. Now this pair comes in at $90, but right now you can actually pick them up for only 60 bucks. Now this is the only pair on the list that actually has a stem style design that resembles the AirPods or AirPods Pro. This pair specifically uses Bluetooth 5.2. It also has aptX, AAC, and SBC playback. Now it uses a Qualcomm 3040 chip, which is one of those chips that does a really good job at consuming power and just not using as much as some of the other ones out there. So that definitely gives a boost when it comes to the battery life. But this pair also has low latency. So if you're going to be using a pair for movies and videos and even gaming on your mobile device, this is one of those pairs that also kind of caters to being used that way. And now as far as the battery life on these, again, because it's using that Qualcomm chip, it allows it to get 12 hours on the earbuds themselves with around 50 hours total using the case. And in the rare case that you pick them up and the battery's dead, a quick 10-minute charge will get you an hour and a half worth of use. Now, as far as using them outdoors, these do come in rated at IPX5. So again, pretty much like every pair on this list, all of these are gonna be fine to use outdoors, but there is only one pair that you can submerge into water, which we'll get into in just a little bit. Now, as far as using the earbuds themselves, this pair does have button control, which actually is kind of rare when it comes to earbuds with a stem style design. And I'm happy to say that you have control over everything. So you have the ability to play, pause, skip your tracks forward, going backwards, and you even have volume control all on the earbuds themselves. Now, moving over to the sound, this is what stood out the most in this pair. It is nice that it had the incredible battery life and the nice Bluetooth codecs and all that stuff. But having a sound that is so in your face, with the bass being extremely punchy, it is very quick, which means it's great for genres like metal. It worked really great for hip hop and pop and anything acoustic. This is one of those pairs that's just kind of easy to recommend to anybody, no matter what they listen to. And some other things that I really liked about this pair is I felt like vocal representation was really nice. It had a nice natural feel to it, and the treble was actually pretty bright. So if you're not somebody that likes a bright treble, which means depending on what you listen to, some cymbals can kind of sound a little harsh at times. Again, I like this just because I feel like it picks up a little bit more details. And again, I just think this is a great overall package, and that's what puts the Tribet FlyBud C1s in at number 4. Now, number 3 on the list, some people might actually be surprised to see it move down a little bit, is the Lepow Tevies. Now, this has been the one pair that I go to for under $100 when people ask, but there's been some other ones that's kind of bumped it down a little bit, but it's still an absolutely incredible pair. It normally retailed for $99, but it's actually down to $83. And they've also upgraded the Tevies, where a lot of people don't really know. It's actually labeled as the Pure Play Z3s now, where they now have bumped it up to using Bluetooth 5.2, and they've also added an ambient mode. So this pair does not have noise canceling, but now it does have the ability to hear your surroundings without actually taking the earbuds out. Now, on top of having Bluetooth 5.2, this pair does have aptX, AAC, and SBC playback, and it does an excellent job with watching movies and videos without having lag, but it does have lag when it comes to gaming. Again, most pairs do unless they're made to have an ultra low latency or a gaming mode. Now, like I said earlier, this is the pair that has the IPX7 rating. So this one you can actually submerge into water. So if you are somebody that does a lot more things outdoors, or if you're around a pool, this is one of those pairs that you're going to be fine using in those type of environments. Now, as far as the battery life, this has always been a huge selling point about this pair. This was one of the first pairs to ever get into double digits, because on the earbuds themselves, you're going to get around 10 hours, where with the charging case, you're going to get around 70 hours total. So really, there's no talk there. If you're going to be using a pair all day, you don't really have to worry as much about charging. Now, if you do happen to pick them up and they are dead, luckily it does have the fast charge feature, where a quick 15-minute charge will get you 2 hours of use. Now, as far as the sound quality, they do use graphene drivers, and originally they were just a very bright and detail-oriented earbud that kind of lacked when it came to bass, but it did an excellent job with picking up vocals. It did an excellent job with being able to hear all the subtle details in the songs. But luckily, again, they have continued to work on this pair. They've added an app that they work with, so now you can kind of EQ these a little bit, and now they actually have quite a bit of punch. It definitely has the ability to boost the low end, but you're still able to keep all the clarity that the mids and the treble have. So now this pair actually fits a little bit more needs than it did when it originally came out, and I always like to see when a company just continues to improve that one product that you've already purchased instead of just moving on to their next one. So all in all, I think the Lepow Tevies just bring a lot of value when it comes to true wireless earbuds, and that's what puts them in at number 3. Now, number 2 on the list was actually my number 1 on my top 5 under $50, and that pair is the Soundpeat T2. Now, Soundpeat is one of those companies that bring a lot of value. A lot of their products don't cost a whole lot, but they're bringing a lot of features, and they're actually bringing surprisingly good audio quality. And this pair specifically retails for $60, but right now you can pick them up for only $51. And this is the least expensive pair on the list. So if you're looking to only spend around $50, this pair just gives you a lot for your money. And one of the things that it does give you is active noise canceling, but not just barely good noise canceling. This pair actually does a decent job with not only blocking out lower tones, but it does a really good job with blocking out people talking and car horns and things like that. So I was surprised at how good the noise canceling was on this pair, but I was also surprised at how good the ambient mode was. I was easily able to hear my surroundings. I was easily able to hear traffic. I could definitely carry on a conversation without taking the earbuds out. And it almost felt completely natural. I mean, there's a little bit of digital noise with using ambient mode, but for the most part, it still sounds pretty close to what you normally hear. Now, as far as using these outdoors, they almost come in completely waterproof. They do come in rated at IPX6, which easily makes this a pair that you can use in a lot of different situations and not have to worry. But again, this is just not one of those you want to submerge into water. Now, as far as the battery life on these, this is another area where I think that you're getting a lot of value because if you decide to use these with the noise canceling off, you can actually get 10 hours on the earbuds themselves with around 30 hours using the case. But if you decide to just leave the noise canceling on all the time, which I actually highly recommend, you still get 8 hours on the earbuds with around 24 hours using the case. And a lot of other earbuds that have noise canceling don't have battery life that even comes close to this. So that is definitely an area that it surprised me in. And then as far as the earbuds themselves, this is also one of the most comfortable pair of earbuds that I've used as well. Now, these do use touch controls, and sadly, they almost give you control over everything because the only thing it doesn't let you do is go back to the previous track. So you can still play and pause and skip your track forward, but not go backwards, and you do have control over the volume. Now, moving over to actually talking about the sound, these are using 12mm dynamic drivers, which I think is a fairly large driver in an earbud this size. But what that's giving you is a very dynamic sound. So the bass can definitely hit when it wants to, but the treble is nice and bright where it needs to be. I felt like there was a lot of details when it came to easy listening and classical and even country. But when you come to genres like pop and hip hop, the bass is definitely able to perform when it comes to that. But another area when it comes to sound that I think the T2 stand out is even with using noise canceling, which in other earbuds make you feel a little bit more closed in. I felt like these sounded fairly open. It just didn't ever made me feel like I was closed in a bubble. The noise canceling didn't have any kind of suction type feel to them. So overall, having noise canceling this good with audio quality that I think really is fantastic in this price range, easily put the Soundpeat T2s in at number 2. So now moving to number 1 on the list. Now, this pair specifically, I think originally retailed for $200, but it's actually been on sale or marked down for so long now to $99 that I think this is the official price. And this is why I've put it on the list. And this pair is the Sennheiser CX400 BT. Now, this pair is kind of like a no-brainer, especially anybody that's looking for audio quality specifically, because if you're looking at Sennheiser's other pairs, like the Momentum and the Momentum 2s, those were around $300 to $350. And what Sennheiser did was make the CX400 BTs, which essentially is the exact same audio quality as the Momentum pairs, but what they did was they didn't put active noise canceling in these, and they don't have the transparency mode, and they don't have smart sensors. So if you can live without those few features, you can save a ton of money. But what makes this pair so special is it still works with Sennheiser's app. So you do have the ability to EQ these in a bunch of different ways. But some of the other features is it does have aptX, AAC, and SBC playback. One thing I'm not a fan of is this pair does not have an official IP rating. So this would be the one pair that I wouldn't recommend really using outdoors as much compared to some of the others. Now, as far as the battery life on the CX400s, you're getting around 7 hours on the earbuds themselves with around 20 hours using the case. And again, this is a pair that has a fast charge feature where a 10-minute charge will get you around an hour's worth of use. Now, as far as using the earbuds themselves, this pair does use touch controls, and I'm happy to say that they give you control over everything. So that is one thing I'm glad Sennheiser did, especially seeing how some of these other ones left out some controls or just didn't give you everything. And then as far as the sound itself, the Sennheisers have the most natural sound compared to all the other ones on the list. They also have the most open sound. So if you want a pair of true wireless earbuds that, in my opinion, resembles a good pair of studio headphones, this is the pair that comes the closest, especially when it comes to this price range. Everything just feels natural, so vocalists sound like they're right there in front of you. Bass doesn't feel over accentuated. The treble doesn't feel pushed up too much. Now, it doesn't sound flat in any means. It just doesn't feel like they're trying to push everything as much in your face. So it really just kind of comes down to the sound signature that you want. I think on this list, there's something that just kind of checks off something for everybody. I think the CX400 BTs in at number 1, again, I think is a no-brainer. And that wraps up my top 5 true wireless earbuds under $100. Again, if you're interested in checking out the original reviews, or if you're interested in purchasing any of these, all of those links will be in the description. But outside of that, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.